5 of 2022, and the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2023. Honorable members, you will recall that on 12th June 2024 and 24th July 2024, the House rejected the Senate amendments to the National Rating Bill, National Assembly Bill number 55 of 2022, and the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2023, respectively. This effectively committed the two bills to mediation committees pursuant to Article 1122B of the Constitution. Subsequently, I appointed 9 members to each committee to represent the National Assembly via communication issued on 24th July 2024 and 31st July 2024. In this regard, honorable members, with respect to the National Rating Bill 2022, the Senate has appointed the following senators. 1, Senator John Matthew Muhia, MP. Order. Honorable Gikaria. Senator Dr. Steve Lutembesi Lelengwe, CBS MP. Senator William Kipkorir Cheptum, MP. Senator Wahome Wamatinga, MP. Senator Mariam Sheikh Omar, MP. Senator Isa Boy Juma, MP. Senator Jones Mwaruma, MP. Senator Agnes Kavindu Mudhama, MP. And Senator Beatrice Akinyi Ogola, MP. With respect to the Conflict of Interest Bill 2023, the Senate has appointed the following senators. Senator Omogeni Eric Okongo, Senior Counsel, MP. Senator Faki Mohamed Mwinyi Haji, CBS, MP. Senator Maanzo Daniel Kitonga, MP. Senator Asige Crystal Kagehi, MP. Senator Orwoba Gloria Magoma, MP. Senator Mungatana Donston Buya, MGH, MP. Senator Nyutu Joe, MP. Senator Chute Mohamed Said, MP. And Senator Sigei Wakili Hilary Kiprotich, MP. Honorable members, following the appointment of senators, the mediation committees are now fully constituted as contemplated under Article 113 of the Constitution. I therefore call upon the committees to expeditiously consider the respective bills and submit versions of the bills for consideration by the Houses of Parliament. In considering the bills, the committees should be alive to the timelines provided under Article 1134 of the Constitution. I thank you. Members, take the nearest seat. There's one more communication. The nearest seats. Thank you. Honorable members, and the second message is from the National Executive as nomination of a person for appointment as the Director General of the Competition Authority. Honorable members, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 42.2, I wish to report to the House that I have received a message from the then Acting Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning dated 6th August 2024 on the nomination of a person for appointment as the Director General of the Competition Authority. Honorable members, in the message, the Acting Cabinet Secretary conveys that in exercise of powers conferred by Section 12 of the Competition Act, Cap 504, he nominates Mr. David Kibet Kemei for appointment as the Director General of the Competition Authority. The Acting Cabinet Secretary therefore seeks the approval of the said nominee by Parliament. Honorable members, you may wish to note that Section 12(1) of the Competition Act prescribes processes of the approval of appointment of a Director General of the Competition Authority by Parliament. In this regard, the vetting of the nominee will be undertaken by a joint sitting of the relevant committees of the respective Houses of Parliament in accordance with established practice. For clarity, honorable members, the vetting exercise shall proceed in the following manner. 1, that the vetting of the nominee for appointment as Director General of the Competition Authority of Kenya shall be conducted by the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning and the relevant Senate Standing Committee. Order Mtunga. Order, Honorable Mtunga. You come in late and you start disrupting the House. That is not right. When you are receiving a communication, you maintain your silence. It's only for a few minutes. That as contemplated under Rule 9(6) of the Joint Rules, unless a decision is reached by consensus, any vote to be taken in the joint sittings of the committee shall be by separate houses. This will ensure that the numerical difference of the individual members representing the houses in the joint sittings has no effect on the decisions of the joint sittings of the committees. That the joint committees shall, upon conclusion of the approval hearings, submit a joint report to the respective houses in the manner contemplated by paragraph 7 of the joint rule number 9. And that the approval process shall be conducted in accordance with the provisions of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F. Honorable members, whereas the Competition Act, Cap 504, does not provide specific timelines within which the House is to consider the nominee, Section 8(1) of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 5F, requires the relevant House to undertake the exercise within 28 days, conscious of the fact that the House is scheduled to proceed on recess this week. I hasten to clarify that the counting of days with respect to the consideration of the nominee will cease during the recess period and resume when the House first sits upon resumption. Therefore, the departmental committee shall submit the joint report on or before Thursday, 3rd October 2024, to enable the House to consider the proposed appointment. Honorable members, the committees are expected to forthwith jointly commence the approval process and notify the nominee and the general public of the time and place for holding the approval hearings, and upon conclusion, table their report within the statutory timelines. I thank you. Next. You can go on with your conversation now.
Order number 4, petitions.
Honorable members, before I prosecute that order, allow me to acknowledge in the public gallery AIC Ebenezer Academy School from Baringo South, Baringo, Sunrise Academy School from Keio North, Elgeyo Marakwet, Chesigot Primary School from Kipkelion West, Kericho. I have been requested by Honorable Hillary to, the school is from your constituency, right? To acknowledge the presence of the school from his constituency and the other schools as well on behalf of all of us.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to welcome the students from Chesigot Primary School and Chesonoi Primary School from my constituency, and the other students from Baringo on their trip to Parliament. And on behalf of myself and the House,
Baringo and Elgeyo Marakwet.
Baringo and Elgeyo Marakwet, Mr. Speaker, and on behalf of myself and the House, to wish them a pleasant stay here as they learn the parliamentary proceedings, because these students, Mr. Speaker, are the future leaders of this country. Some of them will be preparing to take over from us, and I wish them a very pleasant stay here in the city. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Omolher can you take your seat? Honorable members, I have a petition to convey to the House, and this is a petition regarding decriminalization of attempted suicide. Honorable members, Article 119 of the Constitution accords any person the right to petition Parliament to consider any matter within its authority. Further, Standing Order 2252B requires the Speaker to report to the House any petition other than those presented by a member. In this regard, honorable members, I wish to report to the House that my office has received a petition from Dr. Lukoye Atwoli of identification card number 1441XXX6, a citizen, a professor of psychiatry, and dean at the Medical School of the East Africa, the Aga Khan University, in calling for a repeal of Section 226 of the Penal Code on attempting suicide. The petitioner states that Section 226 of the Penal Code, Cap 63 of the laws of Kenya states that any person who attempts to kill himself is guilty of a misdemeanor. Further, Section 36 provides for a general punishment for misdemeanors that, and I quote, when in this code no punishment is specifically provided for any misdemeanor, it shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years, or with a fine, or with both. Honorable members, the petitioner holds that criminalizing suicide attempts not only fails to address underlying mental health issues, but also perpetuates stigma and shame surrounding mental illnesses. This is despite the provisions of Section 2 of the Mental Health Act, Cap 248, which defines and includes in its interpretation of a person with mental illness as a person with suicidal ideation or behavior. Moreover, it inhibits accurate data collection and hinders suicide prevention efforts. The petitioner clarifies that Kenya remains one of the few countries with such a legislation criminalizing attempted suicide. He avers that many countries decriminalized attempted suicide, allowing mental ill patients access to the services they require. Honorable members, the petitioner further states that the continued application of the provisions contradicts the provision of Article 43 of the Constitution that, and I quote, every person has the right to the highest attainable standard of health, which includes the right to health care services, including reproductive health care, and a person shall not be denied emergency medical treatment. The petitioner concludes and holds that Section 226 of the Penal Code, Cap 63 of the laws of Kenya, read together with Section 36, is unreasonable and potentially creates a barrier towards access to the highest attainable standard of mental health care and emergency medical treatment. Further, the petition states that the provision offends Article 28, which provides that every person has inherent dignity and the right to have that dignity respected and protected. Honorable members, in light of the foregoing, the petitioner seeks the intervention of the National Assembly in repealing Section 226 of the Penal Code, Cap 63, to decriminalize attempted suicide. Honorable members, having determined that the matters raised by the petitioner are well within the authority of this House, and further, that the matters raised in this petition are not pending before any court of law, constitutional or legal body, I hereby commit the petition to the Public Petitions Committee for consideration pursuant to Standing Order 208A. The committee is required to consider the petition and report its findings to the House and to the petitioner in accordance with the Standing Orders 2272. Yes, Julius Sunguli, you want to speak to this?
Yes.
You don't have to stand up. You simply wait and I can invite you to speak. What I don't understand for lawyers like Murugara is whether everybody who attempts suicide is a psychiatric case or a mental patient.
Not necessarily.
Yes.
Not necessarily that way. I think
yes.
There may be circumstances away from mental illness that may force one to do this. There needs to be an examination. Sometimes it may also be criminal. To
yes.
try and avoid the due process, you want to kill yourself quickly because you've committed a more serious and heinous offense.
Sunguli.
So we will look at this.
Yes. Honorable Julius Sunguli.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to urge, I would like to support this petition and urge the committee to actually consider matters that will lead to legislating on this matter. Mr. Speaker, attempted suicide is one of those, I think, two offenses where when you attempt to do an offense and you don't succeed, then you are punished.
Because if you succeed, then you will not be there to be punished.
Mr. Speaker, but in the United Kingdom, as you know, suicide itself used to be punished. That once you commit suicide, your property was taken by the state and your inheritance was destroyed. But in 1961, the United Kingdom decriminalized suicide, and later on they decriminalized attempted suicide. Our society is so complex now, we don't even know why people are killing themselves. But the majority of the people who are killing themselves are not people who really want to die, but they are people just who don't want to live because their lives are becoming so desperate. There is a difference between wanting to die and not wanting to live, because if there was an alternative, they would take it. Mr. Speaker, it is very important that we use the opportunity of psychiatric knowledge to try and cure the ills that are in our society. People are killing themselves. In Kilgoris, for instance, and the rest of the places, and pastoralist places, the way people kill themselves is by taking cattle dip, the acaricide that he used for killing ticks. This is becoming so common. And to get a person who is already in problems and who has just survived death, and then you want to come and imprison that person, I think it is not doable. Let us be a more understanding society and decriminalize attempted suicide, and as indeed the suicide itself has been decriminalized.
If suicide is complete, there is no criminal, Julius. I don't know.
Mr. Speaker, you are speaking to the other member, but I'd say that in the United Kingdom, yes, you are punished if you committed suicide, yes, because your property would be taken away, yes, and your inheritance would be vanquished. But now it's no longer an offense in Britain. It's not an offense in Kenya. Attempted suicide shouldn't be an offense punishable at all, but should be a case for doctors to handle and for society to see how to cushion distressed members, because we are all suffering from depression.
Chairman Health. Take 2 minutes each.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the petition by Professor Atwoli, the Professor of Psychiatry. Honorable Speaker, attempted suicide is a mental illness. And being a mental illness, I think it should not be criminalized. These are people who require treatment, and they require more so either psychological or psychiatric treatment. Honorable Speaker, as the committee looks into that, we also have cases of judges and magistrates admitting patients to mental hospitals, where you will find that the judge declares that a patient be admitted to Madare Mental Hospital, and once they have been admitted to Madare Mental Hospital, you wonder how that patient, once he's gotten well, is going to be discharged, because we have people who have stayed permanently in Madare Mental Hospital. And that is a serious case. And even you wonder who should be paying the bill. Because I think as the committee looks into it, they need to even go further so that they look at, because it should be the doctor who is admitting to Madare, and once the patient is fit to stand trial, then the doctor discharges from Madare to court so that the court can now sentence that person. Instead of admitting to the Madare, and the person stays in Madare forever. So, Honorable Speaker, I think these are many issues that I think the committee will need to look into it. And if possible, they should be able to invite Professor Atwoli, invite also the CEO of Madare Mental Hospital, because there are many issues that deals with mental illness. And I'm also willing to also appear before the committee so that we can shed more light on that. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Atandi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also would like to support the petition and say that in the last Parliament, Kenya National Commission on Human Rights also sent a petition to this House, urging this House to amend Section 226 of the Penal Code to decriminalize attempted suicide. Honorable Speaker, science has shown that people who are mentally stable do not end their lives or attempt to end their lives. And therefore, if there's anybody who is attempting to end their lives, they basically, essentially have a mental condition. So what they really require is to be given treatment. So to prosecute such people in courts, Honorable Speaker, is not justifiable. And I want to agree with the petitioners that this House needs to make that consideration and decriminalize the section of the penal code that allows it. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support.
Honorable Speaker, I stand to oppose this petition, and I want to oppose it vehemently. Life in the Constitution is described as sacred. It should be preserved. It is illegal to take the life of another person, same as it is illegal to take your life. You know, why would you want to jail someone for taking another person's life, for attempting to take another person's life? But when one person wants to take his life, you say it is okay. I think God meant people to live, not to be killed or to kill themselves. And they have to die at a certain situation where it must happen by God's grace or God's will. But Honorable Speaker, if we decriminalize attempted suicide in this country, we will be picking people in the streets, so many of them, having killed themselves. We must ensure that every Kenyan looks at life. Why do we oppose abortion then? Why do we say we are pro-life as a country? But here we're saying that we want to decriminalize a situation where someone takes away. Honorable Speaker, as a Christian and as a person that believes that life is sacred and must be preserved, I oppose this petition, and I want to ask this House never to pass a law like that. Yes, we'll stand to be judged. And I think the Christian fraternity needs to come out and tell Atwoli he is wrong to say those things. And I want to stand with all other Christians in the world that believe that we are pro-life, we must preserve life, and let life go because God has willed, but not because man has willed that that person must die. That I will stand, and even when they bring I will oppose it, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, the member at the back, is that member for Mwalio? Yes, Honorable Mwalio.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in one of the 10 commandments, the Bible says, "Thou shalt not kill." And therefore, even killing yourself is an offense and it is a sin. So we should not set an example Because people will say Parliament has already passed that petition for them to kill themselves, and they will kill themselves very many because we have passed it in this house. So I oppose that petition.
Member for Kirinyaga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I think we missed the point when we do not understand where the petition is coming from. We passed in the last parliament a very robust law on mental health. Unfortunately, we have not had the capacity to fully implement the same. There's a joke that goes around, Honorable Speaker, that in heaven there's no beer. I do not think any person of sane mind would want to take their life away. There has been medical data that mental illnesses for a very long time in the African society have not been addressed adequately, because even in the village, we used to say, quote unquote, yule mwenda wazimu. We do not understand that in the 21st century, it is a disease like any other. It is a condition that must be addressed medically. These people undergo clinical testing. They see therapists. Honorable Speaker, I can tell you it is very expensive in this country to see a therapist. A local person in Kirinyaga County, a local resident, cannot afford 3,000 Kenya shillings per session of 1 hour to see a therapist. Mental health must be addressed by this parliament, the 13th parliament, adequately. The Ministry of Health must also fund county governments to address issues of mental health adequately. We are not sanctioning or saying that people should take away their lives. We are saying these people need help. Let us come up with solutions to help them so that they stay here longer with us. And like we all know, we wait for the time when the Lord decides. So let us address the concerns of mental health without bringing in religion or saying that this house or that petition would be sanctioning somebody taking away their life. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Ochanda.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I know Professor Lukoyo personally, and I know how much he's been into this for a while. Mr. Speaker, committing suicide generally is understood that it's never instant. There is a process before it. There are many things that have happened before one decides to take his life or her life. That is generally understood to be so. But then there are situations where we look at extreme anger. Somebody who is extremely angered by whatever and says, no, can't face this anymore and commits suicide. Oh, my mic is gone. This is something that needs to be looked at differently. So I think, in my view, what the petition ought to have looked at is, can we subject the issues of suicide to processes before one commits suicide? And I think that's when it will make a lot of sense. Otherwise, the whole issue of life is also very important. That it's not important. It's not good that one takes away their lives on their own, even if it's by somebody else or by their own. But then, the most critical thing is, most situations where we have issues of suicide are followed by many other incidents, many other activities, many other processes that by the end of the day, one concludes that I don't want to face this anymore and I have to commit suicide. So I think we need to have those breaks in between so that before we end up saying that you attempted to commit suicide and that is looked at in isolation, the petition wants to look at it in terms of a process. What leads you to that kind of a situation where you want to commit suicide? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Yes. Member for Tambaj. Yes, go ahead, honorable member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You normally don't sit around here.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm always on that other end.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
I wish to add my voice to this petition that is presented about people attempting suicide. I believe the petition holds substance and deserves my support, in the sense that when somebody attempts suicide, there are many factors which led him to take that position. So if the person survived if he survived attempting suicide, I think we should sympathize with that person. He should not be punished for that attempt. We really do not know what has led him to that. I think that is someone who should be sympathized with, given a lot of counseling and support, but not punished. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is no data, there is no information at all that criminalizing suicidal attempt has improved or reduced suicidal attempt. But what I want to say is that sometimes we use money or funds in wrong interventions. Instead of taking that person to prison and leaving all this entire household in a more abject poverty, it is more improving the suicidal ideation, which can result into attempt, more than if you leave this person in the household and have some measures, which I'm suggesting, my chair is listening, that instead of Madari, we decentralize mental services to the primary health care so that they can be addressed at the household and also dispensaries and health centers. Because, Mr. Speaker, speaking the truth, suicidal ideation and attempts, and some are completed, it's an epidemic because people are not really surviving. It's not like Sunkuli says that they don't want to live. I think they can't live. They see that they can't live, that's why they take their life. So I support the petitioner. I think we should decentralize mental health to primary health care.
Lisa Chelule. Give Honorable Chelule the mic.
Asante sana Bwana Spika kunipatia hii nafasi pia mimi nichangie ombi ambaye imeletwa katika bunge hili na daktari moja katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Na ni mambo ambayo inahusu mauaji ya watu ama mtu binafsi kuchukua nafasi.
Hiyo si Kiswahili sanifu, kujitia kitanzi. Kujitia kitanzi.
Okay, kutisia.
Au kujaribu kujitia kitanzi.
Okay. Ninaongea juu ya mwenye anaweza kuuawa ama mwenye anaamua kuchukua kujitia kitanzi. Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, kabla mtu hajaamua kujiua ama kujitia kitanzi, kuna sababu fulani ambaye imemfanya afanye hivyo. Hivyo nataka kusema hiyo ni shida ya ugonjwa na pengine ni shida ya akili. Bwana Spika, inafaa tutofautishe vitu viwili. Katika Biblia, Mungu amesema mtu afai kujiua ama kuua mwenzake. Mtu afai kukufa sababu ya suicide ama kujitia kitanzi ama kuamua kuua mtu mwingine, Bwana Spika. Kwa hivyo kuna mambo mawili hapa Bwana Spika. Kuna mambo ya kujiua ama kujitia kitanzi ama kuua mtu mwingine, na kuna mambo ambayo inahusu akili, kama mtu ako na shida ya akili yake, ako mgonjwa, anafaa kupelekwa hospitali. Kwa hivyo Bwana Spika, tukisema yule mtu anajiua ama kujitia kitanzi ama kuua mtu mwingine, anafaa kupelekwa hospitali kwanza, sawa kupelekwa hospitali, lakini watu wengine kwa hasira ama kwa chuki anaweza kuchukua hii nafasi kuua mwenzake. Kwa hivyo sisemi nitapinga ama naweza kusema ninapinga ombi hilo. Lazima ichunguzwe kwanza. Kuna mambo mawili ambayo imechangia shida ambayo imeletwa katika bunge hili. Asante Bwana Spika.
On that.
I thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, there are many factors that could precipitate suicide, and the owner of this petition, or the drafter of the petition, has only taken one angle, which is mental incapacitation, Honorable Speaker. So I think, Honorable Speaker, life being so sacrosanct, this House cannot administer an easier process that leads to extermination of life. I do believe that judges and magistrates, before they make a final determination as to the guilt or otherwise of an accused person, they usually recommend for mental examination before that decision is made.
Only in homicide cases.
Only in homicide. Therefore, even if this House would make changes to that effect, then that medical examination should also include cases of suicide, Honorable Speaker. But we are not going to allow Kenyans to take out their lives at will, because basically that is what this petition is intended to achieve. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Member for Wajir West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to oppose this motion.
It's a petition.
I mean to oppose this bill or proposal or petition. Mr. Speaker, Islamically, suicide is not allowed. And if I quote the Honorable, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, indeed, whoever intentionally kills himself, then certainly he will be punished in the hellfire. Mr. Speaker, if God himself decided to punish those who commit suicide, as human beings, we have no power to not to punish them, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I believe anybody who is taking his own soul should be punished, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I oppose the petition. Thank you.
Yes, Member for Kamkunji.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to support the petition by Professor Atwoli on this particular critical issue of suicides. And I want this House not to mix people's religious beliefs and our ability to legislate justice for all our citizens. You know, people who are committing suicide are mostly people with mental illness, people who are not psychologically balanced, people who have problems in their own lives and feel that it's not worth living life on earth. So to bring in biblical or Quranic verses in order to oppose it is rather out of place. And I think we should decriminalize and make sure that, in fact, the patients who survive get the medical attention that they need psychologically and get the necessary help that they need. I heard some member of parliament say that, in fact, we will be encouraging more people to commit suicide. But even if you took someone who is not balanced and who has survived to prison, they can still hang themselves in prison. There's no deterrent. So I think we should give them the support that they need. We should protect them, and we should make sure that, in fact, they get cured so that they can enjoy living a happy and a wonderful life in Kenya and on this world. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, Rueda, you'll be the last on this.
Bwana Spika, mimi nataka sisi hapa bunge tuwe makini sana. Na sioni kama ni sawa tukisema sisi tusifate dini. Katiba yetu inatambua dini zote. Tunasema hivi, Bwana Spika, katika Uislamu kujiweka kitanzi ni katika dhambi kubwa sana. Na naamini kwa Biblia ni hivyo hivyo. Lakini pia Qurani inasema mtu yule haandikiwi madhambi ni watu watatu. Ni mtu yule ambaye hana akili mpaka wakati wake akili itakapokurudi, na pia mtoto mdogo, na mwingine ni yule amelala mpaka atakapokuamka. So Kama kutakuwa na njia hapo ya kuhakikisha kweli hana akili, then hapo tunasema hana dhambi. Lakini kuna watu wanatumia hizi nafasi, hata mtu akikosana na bwanake ameoa bibi mwingine, sisi wengine angalau tunakubali 4, lakini kuna wengine wakiolewa tu mmoja, anakunywa, anajifanya amekunywa, hataki, ni drama tu anafanya, kumbe hiyo hafaa kuwa punished. So kuna mambo mengine hapo yasiingizwe katikati mtu akatumia hiyo advantage. Asante Bwana Speaker.
Okay, the petition is committed to the Committee on Public Petitions. Is Nimrod here? They report back in 60 days. Honorable members, before the next order, honorable members, order. Honorable members, allow me, on my behalf and on your behalf, to welcome back to the House your colleague from Isiolo North, the Honorable Samal, who has been battling with some ailment for several months and has missed attending this House for close to a year. We thank God that he is now recuperating properly. He still has some challenges, but he's come to see the Speaker and informed the Speaker that he is now able to attend the House at least minimally for 20-30 minutes to an hour per session. And we all must wish him a quick recovery so that he can continue discharging his duties on behalf of the electorate of Isiolo North. Honorable Samal, welcome back, and we wish you quick recovery. I don't know if he's able to speak well. Honorable Samal, are you able to say something? It's difficult from what I noticed.
Hello. Welcome.
And Honorable Samal, don't stress yourself. We wish you a very quick recovery. And from the time I saw you at the hospital and now, I can report to the House that there is tremendous progress in the recovery of Honorable Samal. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, August 13, 2023. Submission of nominee to the National Government Constituency Development Fund Committee for Hamisi constituency by the National Government Constituency Development Fund Board. Number 2, National Government Budget Implementation Review Report of the first 9 months of the year 2023 for the year 2023 to 2024 from the Office of the Controller of Budget. Number 3, County Government's Budget Implementation Review Report of the first 9 months of the year 2023-2024 from the Office of the Controller of Budget. Number 4, reports of the Auditor General and financial statement of the National Government Constituency Development Fund, NGCDF, for the year ended 30th June 2023, and the certificates therein in respect of the following constituencies: A. Bobasi, B. Bomachoge, C. Bonchari, D. Bondo, E. Emuhaya, F. Hamisi, G. Ijara, H. Kangundo, I. Kitutu Chache North, J. Kisumu Central, K. Kisumu West, L. Lafe, M. Lagdera, N. Mandera East, O. Mandera South, P. Mbere North, Q. Narok East, R. Nyakach, S. Nyando, T. Nyatike, U. Rerienda, V. Sabatia, W. Zeme, X. Suna East, Y. Wajir South, and Z. Yata. Honorable Speaker, I lay the papers.
Chairperson, Select Committee on Budget and Appropriations Committee.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 13th August 2024. Report of the Select Committee on Budget and Appropriations Committee on its consideration of the County Government's Additional Allocation Bill, that is Senate Bill number 19 of 2024. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairperson, Diaspora and Migrant Workers Committee. Aika.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 13th August 2021. The report of Diaspora Affairs and Migrant Workers Committee on the study visit to Philippines from 7th to 12th August 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Aika. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security. Honorable Tongoyo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, 13th August 2024. The report of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the inquiry into the state of security in the 6 counties of North Rift, of Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Turkana, West Pokot, Samburu, and Laikipia, declared as disturbed areas.
Honorable Tongoyo. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Agriculture and Livestock, Dr. Mutunga.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, that Tuesday, 13th of August 2024, report of the Departmental Committee on Agriculture and Livestock on its consideration of the Mang Bean Bill, Senate Bill number 13 of 2022. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Mutunga. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security, Tongoyo.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopt the report of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the inquiry into the state of security in the 6 counties of North Rift, of Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Turkana, West Pokot, Samburu, and Laikipia, declared as disturbed areas, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 13th August 2024.
Thank you, Honorable.
Delayed.
Next order.
Thank you.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
I'll start with your Chepkonga, yes?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, about 2 weeks ago, you referred a statement by the Honorable Kawanjiko, the Member of Parliament for Kiambaa, with regard to some agreement that was signed by the National Treasury and with a company in Kenya to grant them waivers of taxes. Mr. Speaker, we had a meeting this morning where we interrogated the officials from the Ministry of Treasury. Unfortunately, there were certain documents, critical documents, that were not presented to us, although they came with a statement which was extremely very wanting. So we are seeking, Mr. Speaker, a further 2 weeks to receive the necessary documents that we have requested and for them to give us the information that we have sought from them. So we are seeking for 2 weeks.
2 weeks extension granted.
Mr. Speaker, can I take also this opportunity to extend an invitation to members of Parliament? Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 83. Mr. Speaker, as you are aware, the President will be granting Eldoret city status. He will be granting a charter on the 21st, on Thursday, to make Eldoret the 5th city in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, as you know, Uasin Gishu is the home of is the home of champions, which hosts this city, Mr. Speaker. So on behalf of the members of parliament who come from the Eldoret city, Mr. Speaker, as you know, all the 6 constituencies have been delineated to touch Eldoret city. So every member of parliament brings their milk, brings their wheat, brings their maize, following their constituency all the way to Eldoret, Mr. Speaker. So on behalf of the members of parliament, the Honorable Barto, the member of parliament for Moiben, on behalf of the member of parliament for Kapseret, Honorable Oscar Sudi, engineer, on behalf of the member of parliament for Tarbu, the Honorable Sitiene, on behalf of the member for Soy, the Honorable David Kiplagat, popularly known as DK, Mr. Speaker, and also the member of parliament for Keses, the Honorable CPA Ruto, and finally, Mr. Speaker, the Deputy Speaker herself, the county member of parliament for Uasin Gishu, the Honorable Gladys Bose. We would like to warmly extend our rich welcome to the members of this house to attend the grant of the charter to Eldoret City as the 5th city in this republic. As you know, Mr. Speaker, this is a city which has produced very many champions. This is the home where the first athlete to get gold medal, Kipchoge Keino, this is where he resides, Mr. Speaker. So it would be, and it is intended, Mr. Speaker, that he will be recognized. And so it will be a very nice thing, Mr. Speaker, if members of parliament, because this is not an Uasin Gishu matter, Mr. Speaker. This is the pride of our country, that we have now the 5th city, Mr. Speaker. You know, other countries just have 1 city. You can imagine, Mr. Speaker, we are proud to have 5 cities, Mr. Speaker. And I see on the Bombui acknowledging, Mr. Speaker, and also seeking that Makueni one day will be a city. And this is a learning experience, Mr. Speaker. And as you know, Mr. Speaker, Eldoret is a sister to a number of cities, to a number of towns around that border this county, Mr. Speaker. As you know, Bungoma is one of them, Trans Nzoia, Kericho, Bomet, Elgeyo Marakwet, Baringo, Kitale, Mr. Speaker, have been corrected by the Honorable Bukose. That's where he comes from, and he plans to attend, Mr. Speaker. So you are most welcome to attend this grant of this charter,
Yes,
Mr. Speaker. I thank you.
Gosia, what is your information?
Mr. Speaker, I just want to inform my colleague here, there is no place called Makueni. He should have said Wote. Makueni is just a name, but the town is called Wote, Mr. Speaker.
Corrected, Mr. Speaker, by a person who knows. Mr. Speaker, as you know, CNN, popularly known as CNN. You know, he watches CNN, so he has more information than myself. So I agree, Mr. Speaker.
Next, we go to the statement by Honorable David Ocheng. The Honorable Ocheng is not in the house. We'll stay to tomorrow. Next is Mashua Waithaka, MP for Kiambu. Honorable Mashua, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations regarding the arrest and prolonged detention of 2 Kenyan citizens in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Honorable Speaker, 2 siblings, Mr. Kevin Bogwa of passport number BK3490508 and his sister, Ms. Neneli Wangoi of passport number AK0227614, who hail from Dumberi in Kiambu constituency, were arrested in Dubai in December 2023 under unclear circumstances and are currently being held incognito by Dubai authorities in Ajman jail. Their detention has now persisted for nearly 8 months. This prolonged incarceration without clarity on proceedings or due process has caused distress among the family members. The lack of communication has left the family in a state of fear and uncertainty regarding the fate of their loved ones. It is deeply troubling that no formal charges have been filed against the two siblings. This situation also raises questions about the safety and well-being of Kenyans abroad and the effectiveness of our diplomatic interventions in such cases. Honorable Speaker, it's against this backdrop that I request a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations on, one, the current status of Mr. Kevin Bogwa and Ms. Nelly Wangoi, who are detained in Dubai. Two, steps to provide consular support and ensure communication between the detained individuals and their family in Kenya. And three, diplomatic measures being taken by the government to engage with UAE authorities to resolve this matter and ensure the preparation of the two Kenyans to rejoin their family. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Who is the chair for foreign? That is Nelson Koech. Is he here? Any member of the committee? Majority leader inform them. Yes, Kandia? You bring the response in 2 weeks.
That, I will let my committee know that the report should be done in 2 weeks. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Joseph Namwar, Turkana Central. Give, okay. There you are.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 42-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Blue Economy.
Speak with some energy, we can't hear you.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 42-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation regarding the incomplete projects in Turkana County by the National Water Harvesting and Storage Authority. Honorable Speaker, the National Water Harvesting and Storage Authority was established under Section 30 of the Water Act 2016 with the main mandate of undertaking development of national public works, water works for water resources, storage and flood control on behalf of the national government. The authority plays a critical role in promoting access to water for Kenyans as enshrined in the Constitution. However, it is deeply concerning that despite the Kawalase flood control project in Turkana County receiving budgetary allocations in financial year 2018-2019, 2019-2020, and the last financial year 2023-2024 for gabion construction and river training works, no tangible progress has been made by the National Water Harvesting and Storage Authority. The lack of progress on the project not only denies the people of Turkana access to water, but also leaves them vulnerable during the recurring floods that have caused devastating losses in the region. If this situation continues, more catastrophic losses are expected, including the risk of displacement of Napetet village and the adjacent Lodwar airstrip in Lodwar municipality. Honorable Speaker, It is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation on the following. 1. What are the reasons for the slow progress and incomplete status of the Kawalase flood control project by the National Water Harvesting and Storage Authority in Turkana County? Number 2, could the ministry provide a report on the utilization of funds allocated to the project from financial year 2018-2019 to financial year 2023-2024? Number 3, what measures is the ministry putting in place to ensure timely completion of these stalled projects? And number 4, what steps is the ministry taking to enhance project oversight, management, and accountability to prevent similar occurrences of incomplete projects in future in Turkana County? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
1 minute. Yes, Bowen, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the
2
National
weeks.
Water Harvesting has had serious challenges and is among the institutions listed as 47 to be winded up. Mr. Speaker, I will take up with the ministry and I should bring a report in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Catherine Omanyo, Honorable Member for Busia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Request for statement regarding the status of fishermen in Budalangi, Kenya-Uganda border area. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44, 2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations regarding the harassment of Kenyan fishermen in Lake Victoria. Honorable Speaker, the Lake Victoria is the largest freshwater lake in Africa and the second largest in the world. It is a shared resource among the Republic of Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, and supports the livelihoods of millions of people, particularly those who depend on fishing. It is regrettable that Kenyan fishermen continue to face many challenges arising from transboundary conflicts with Ugandan authorities. One of these conflicts is the frequent arrest and detention of Kenyan fishermen by Ugandan security forces who accuse them of trespassing into Ugandan waters or operating without valid licenses. According to reports, Ugandan police officers often confiscate the boats and equipment of Kenyan fishermen and demand hefty bribes from their release. Some of these bribes can be as high as Uganda shillings 700,000, which is equivalent to Kenya shillings 30,000 per person. In some cases, Ugandan security forces have also used violence against Kenyan fishermen, resulting in injuries or even deaths. Honorable Speaker, these incidences violate the rights and dignity of Kenyan fishermen who are entitled to fish in the lake as per the agreements and protocols signed by the East Africa Community EAC member states. These agreements and protocols include the Lake Victoria Fisheries Organization, LVFO, which was established in 1994 to promote sustainable management and development of the fisheries resources in the lake. The LVFO also aims to foster cooperation and coordination among the riparian states on issues such as fishing licenses, regulations, enforcement, monitoring, and research. These incidences undermine the spirit of friendship and integration between Kenya and Uganda, which have a long history of bilateral relations and cooperation. The two countries share not only common border, but also a common culture, language, heritage, and destiny. Honorable Speaker, it is again this backdrop that I seek a statement from the Departmental Committee of Defense, the Intelligence and Foreign Relations on the following. 1, steps being taken by the ministry to engage with the government of Uganda to ensure that Kenya fishermen in Lake Victoria are treated with respect and dignity, and that any disputes over fishing rights are resolved amicably and peacefully. 2, strategies put in place by the ministry to work with LVFO and other stakeholders to harmonize the fishing policies and procedures in the lake and to provide adequate support and protection to Kenyan fishermen. And lastly, measures put in place to enhance security and surveillance in the lake and to collaborate with Ugandan authorities to prevent and punish any acts of harassment or extortion against the Kenyan fishermen. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Tongayo. Yes, Wanjala. What do you, that is her statement. You want to be a joyrider?
To add some additional information we have just gotten now to support her. Mr. Speaker, on 11th July, they arrested 8 people from Budalang in the lake, from Bunyala South, location, Bunyala South Ward. 1, Joseph Ouma Kudira, ID number 1727955. Number 2, Joseph Ouma Kudira, Moses Kudira, ID 22968364. Stephen Okoch, 16 years old. Preston Sanya, ID 27492504. Patrick Namunja, 33478402. Zedekiah Oguta, 257547-6. John Oboloti, and lastly, Michael Wafula. And Mr. Speaker, we want to tell the Ugandans that all the rivers that flow into Lake Victoria, that feeds Lake Victoria, are from Kenya. And fish is bred in Kenya but goes into deeper waters. That's why our people go there, and it's a shared resource. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, no. Give him the mic.
Speaker, I'm one of the constituencies I represent that is heavily, badly affected by the so-called, let me call them, sorry, Speaker, bad manners of our Ugandan neighbors. Honorable Speaker, hardly a week ends without reports of abduction. Actually, this is not even arrest, it's abduction. Honorable Speaker, they come all the way to the shores of Lake Victoria on the Kenyan side and abduct our fishermen forcibly so that they can give them the 30,000 they always crave for every single day. And when we ask them why they do that, they say the military and the police in Uganda are not paid any salary, so they are suffering, and that's why they come to look for little money. But Honorable Speaker, for us from Funyula, we have found a way of dealing with them. You take our boats, you take our people, we also hold yours. It's now become, we hold yours at ransom, and we trade off. So, Honorable Speaker, we really want the two countries to have a discussion, including Tanzania. We put this matter to an end once and forever. These are shared resources where people with the same language, same culture, same tradition, we do not know why they keep on harassing us. If we continue doing this, we are going also to look for self-help measures so that we resolve this matter once and for all. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This is a matter, Mr. Speaker, that needs to be addressed seriously by the East African community leadership, because it has happened over and over again. And most of the time, the Kenyan fishermen are always arrested in Uganda. They are punished, like it has been said. Some are kept in cells for so long, and then it goes just like that. So, Mr. Speaker, we really need our government to take this matter very seriously, because when they come to Kenya, the Ugandans, Kenyans do not hold them the way they are. So our apparatuses also need to be very seriously on the ground to protect the Kenyans, and not only about fishermen, about even all other traders across the borders between Kenya and Uganda. Mr. Speaker, I also would like to probably suggest that the Committee on Regional Integration also, hello, Mr. Speaker. No, he's not hearing. Mr. Speaker, I also would like to suggest that the Committee on Regional Integration probably be involved in this petition. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, in this statement.
Bondo, member for Bondo.
Mr. Speaker, this is
Charles,
a serious
no issue
menace. Mr. Speaker, the whole issue of the conflict between Kenya and Uganda, particularly our fishermen, is a menace. And the time that this will be addressed, I think there's going to be a lot of peace in that region. If at all we are completely unable to determine our boundaries, let's use the simplest way, even if it's a string. Can we have it on the lake? For anybody else, if you are crossing from Ugandan side, you get to know you are at the boundary. Or if you are crossing from the Kenyan side, you get to know that you are at the boundary. Because it is difficult. Nobody can know exactly where that boundary is. And what we are conflicting on is fish. Even when you had a boundary over the water, fish will not will never respect that boundary. They will cross left and right. So the most important thing is that we must get a harmonious way of coexisting, particularly between Kenyans and the Ugandan side, but more so the people who are using the resources on the lake, Mr. Speaker. It's something that has been there for long, it's been persistent, and we must get a solution to it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Semen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a big problem for all people around the lake. But Mr. Speaker, I just want to draw attention that there was actually 2 years ago, we passed and established the Coast Guard as a unit which function was to actually guard the coast and actually protect the fishermen. And this, it was expected that by the time the Uganda forces come in, they would probably meet our Coast Guards and therefore resolve this issue without affecting the fishermen. So, Mr. Speaker, I think what we should look at, what does the Coast Guard do, particularly in Lake Victoria? It was actually expected that a base would be established somewhere around Busia. So, Mr. Speaker, this is something we really must address as a country.
Yes, lastly, Bukose. Mutunga, you want to speak to this?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the issue raised by Honorable Wanjala, the member for Budalangi, is a very serious issue, and I think it needs attention because all of us, especially who live along the border, these resources must be shared equally and without discrimination. We are all signatories to the East African Federation, and as East Africans, we should not have police arresting the people of Budalangi, the people of Endebess, the people of Funyula, or the people of Matayos. They should be freely moving, whether they are fishermen or they are hunters and gatherers, so that they get whatever resources they need to get. So I think this is something that should be addressed by the head of state of Kenya, President Ruto, together with his brother, President Museveni, so that this issue can be solved once and for all. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Let's end here on this. Mutunga, take a minute. You'll be the last.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the issue of skirmishes in Lake Victoria, especially aggression by the Ugandan people, and especially by the Ugandan government officials, is quite disturbing. Honorable Speaker, we wonder why we do not hear of such instances by the Kenyan security forces. The last time we had issues with Migingo Highland, and there was so much of aggression from Ugandan government. Honorable Speaker, this matter seems to be fizzling out. Whenever it comes up, we just discuss it here.
and it doesn't take effect. We're asking the relevant institutions to take it up and deal with it to the conclusion, because, Honorable Speaker, we should not forget that the Second World War was caused by a single assassination in Europe. So Ugandans are going too far to cause a lot of aggression to the Kenyans. As we are resilient and we believe in neighborliness, we believe in friendship. When they had problems with Amin Dada, they were living here and we never killed them. We never disturbed them. The waters actually come from Kenya. So, Honorable Speaker, we don't understand why they should always be disturbing our people when they are even fishing on our side of the border. Honorable Speaker, this matter needs to be dealt with conclusively. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations, Kandie, can you bring a response in 2 weeks?
We will do that, Honorable Speaker.
Okay. Tongoyo, response to a statement by Wilberforce Oundo. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead.
Honorable Speaker, the statement by Honorable Owindo, MP for Funyala, had said to Funyula, had asked, had requested to be informed the criteria of distribution of government vehicles to the National Government Administration officers, and also, like, specifically the question, the criteria for and the status of distribution, the step that the government has taken to ensure that all national government vehicles, administrative officers, particularly those in Funyula constituency, are facilitated with the vehicles, and when the ministry is supplying vehicles to the national government administration officers, especially in Sumia sub-county. I said as follows, Honorable Speaker. The ministry has a shortfall of 1,718 units of motor vehicles, way above what is allocated from the leasing program and budgetary allocation for the National Treasury for the purchase of motor vehicle. The ministry has embraced the leasing program as the best way to address the mobility challenges faced in the service delivery. In the year 2021, the ministry retained 200 units of Ford Ranger model motor vehicles after expiry of the leasing program, based on the mechanical report from the field administrative officers. The units were distributed to all the departments and field administration unit as follows. Deputy County Commissioners, 68 units. County Commissioners pool for use by SEC in the county, 102. Departments in the ministry, 30, a total of 200. The question on regards to question number 2, the ministry has submitted requests to the National Treasury for allocation of motor vehicles units under the leasing program, and the ministry is yet to get the allocation of motor vehicles. That is, Mr. Speaker, in the just budget, concluded budget, which actually I had mentioned last week. In regards to question number 2, Honorable Speaker, Samia sub-county was among 68 sub-counties that retained Ford Ranger model unit whose lease had expired. The MV registration GK B391H is the current vehicle in use by the Deputy County Commissioner. The pool vehicles at the County Commissioner, Busia County, are GK B369J and GK B745H. The ministry is awaiting the National Treasury to allocate funds for the leasing program. Once the motor vehicles are availed from the leasing program, the ministry will deploy them to the field administrative officers, of course, to include in this said sub-county. Priority will be given to the sub-counties that do not have leased motor vehicles, Samia sub-county included. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I submit.
Oundo, you satisfied? We got the next.
Honorable Speaker, Yes, I'd had a discussion with the chair before, and what he has indicated here is what he had told me. Of course, Honorable Speaker, I'm not satisfied for two reasons. Number one, the timelines are not given. As I stand here, Honorable Speaker, the vehicle he's talking about is actually grounded. GK B391H is actually grounded. And yet the county commissioner indicates that even the ones that he has indicated here are not in good working condition. So I want to ask him to continuously engage the ministry so that we expedite the process. They can follow up the money in the treasury, and as they proceed with the leasing, please do not forget the various police stations in Funyula constituency that have got no vehicles at all. To an extent, Honorable Speaker, the police cannot mount any security operation. They have no vehicles. Sometimes they have to use bicycles or motorcycles to chase after criminals, which is now becoming a very dire situation. And I want to ask him to continuously press the ministry to make sure that we move with speed, address these issues. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Tongoyo, yes, because on the same?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, when you listen to Honorable Tongoyo, he is saying that county commissioners have been given 102 vehicles for use by ACCs. And I don't know how that distribution is done, because many of the ACCs, including ACCs in Endebess, in Jepchoina, and other places, they have no vehicle to use. And I don't think they are able to even access those bull vehicles. Secondly, you have, out of the vehicles that are bought, 68 are given to the DCCs. Then 30 are given for departmental heads. This means those vehicles are remaining in Nairobi within the departments, and yet we are staffing those who are far away who could be able to utilize those vehicles. I think Honorable Tongoyo will need to go back to discuss further and give us even a breakdown on how the 102 vehicles to the county commissioners have been distributed. And if possible, get those 30 that have been given to departmental heads to be distributed to the various counties, so that ACCs, DCCs can be facilitated to be able to perform their duties.
Honorable Speaker, I appreciate the counter response from the members, but from actually the opening remarks, Honorable Speaker, I think I did make it clear that there is an acute shortage of the motor vehicles. And it's not just actually the sub-counties, the sub-county of the member, the concerned member, but to the majority of actually administrative units in the country. But the question, Honorable Speaker, lays in this House. It is a matter of resources, and the issue of resources is done by this House. So I'll challenge, call upon all members, if we want to address the acute shortage of the motor vehicles among administrative units and officers, we allocate sufficient resources to the ministry so that they can be able to lease more.
Go to the next. Is Joseph Namwar in the House? Okay, go ahead and respond to his statement.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. The statement regarding the incident involving the Kenya Wildlife Service personnel in Marsabit County by the Honorable Member Turkana Central. Honorable Speaker, the Member of Parliament for Turkana Central, Honorable Joseph Namur, had requested a statement regarding an incident involving Kenya Wildlife Service personnel in Marsabit County. The Honorable Member particularly requested to be informed detailed account of the incidents, including circumstances that led to the extensive force by the KWS, the specific action that has been initiated to ensure thorough investigation, and to ensure that the ministry has put in place to ensure that the family of one Mr. Esinyeni is compensated and the step being taken to de-escalate tension between the KWS and the local communities, including collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife to prevent such tragic instances. Honorable Speaker, I want to state as follows. On 12th June 2024, at around 18:30, KWS officers based at Sibiloi Game Reserve were conducting a patrol along the shores of the Lake Turkana when they encountered an ambush and contact with armed illegal fishermen, whereby 2 KWS officers were fatally injured as follows. One, number 6099, Samuel Longalon, the assistant game warden, shot on the right part of the chest. Number 8249, CPL Michael Oreng, shot on the right part of the chest. The incident was reported to the North Hall Police Station. The bodies were later removed for the scene after processing by the OCS North Hall for KWS camp. Within the same game reserve, before being airlifted, the following day to Nairobi for preservation and postmortem, on the 13th, Honorable Speaker, the KWS officers mounted operation along the shores of the lake in pursuance of the criminal and flushing out illegal fishing camps within the protected area. 3 days later, it was reported at Kalalok Police Station, Turkana Central Sub-County in Turkana County that Mr. Daniel Esinyen, a Turkana fisherman, was shot in the waters of Lake Turkana, allegedly by the KWS officers in retaliation. The investigation into the fatal killing of the 2 KWS officers has been opened, and the case is still pending under investigation by the DCIO North Hall. 2 persons were arrested but found not connected with the case and were charged for offense of illegal entry into a protected area. They pleaded guilty as charged and were sentenced to 3 years each by Marsabit Law Court. Investigation into the alleged murder of one Mr. Daniel Esinyen is also pending under investigation of DCIO North Hall. Honorable Speaker, the case is still pending under investigation. Once investigations are concluded, the necessary action will be taken against whoever found culpable. On the last question, Mr. Speaker, the multi-agency patrols are being mounted along the neighboring villages like Mwite, Kambi Turkana, and Kokai. In addition, sensitization of the members of the public on the importance of keeping law and order, like avoiding fishing in protected area and coexistence within the law enforcers is ongoing. The Coast Guard officers based at Lower Rengag are closely monitoring against illegal fishermen. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Signed by Kidhuri Kindiki. Kidhure.
Honorable Joseph, you satisfied? We got the next issue.
Honorable Speaker, I am not satisfied by the response. Honorable Speaker, this is a very emotive issue, and it must be understood by the CS, whom I have a lot of respect, the CS for Interior. And this incident is still ongoing as we speak. People are being killed, some are even dropped into the lake, and their fishing gear, boats are getting confiscated. Honorable Speaker, these are 2 separate incidents. When the 2 officers were killed, they were killed by poachers. Because in Sibiloi, there is fish and there are also the wild animals. So the poachers are the ones who killed the 2 KWS officers. And we give our condolences. Number 2, Honorable Speaker, the report The report of helicopter registration number 5Y KWM is not being reported. And this is the helicopter that was used to kill Daniel Esekon inside the water. Honorable Speaker, as much as I agree that there is still a lot of investigation that needs to be done, there is need for a recommendation to have a manner in which the fishermen, the wild animals, can coexist with the community. Because, Honorable Speaker, there are two communities or tribes there. There is the Dasanach, the Merile subtribe of the Dasanach, and the Turkana. They coexist. But in their coexistence with the KWS, there is no demarcation to understand the extent at which the park, the lake in the lake, extends to. That needs to be understood. The same happens even in the central highland. Honorable Speaker.
Namwaro, you are now making a speech. You are to seek clarification.
Yes, Your Excellency, this is a very emotive issue that requires a lot of further investigation. It is not very light as it's being put by the CS Interior. And we are continuing to lose boats, we are continuing to lose the fishing gear, we are continuing to lose engines. In fact, some have even been burnt into ashes, and people are killed and thrown into the water. This is inside Kenya. It is not the case of Uganda versus Kenya. This is Kenyans against Kenyans. And Honorable Speaker, we need further clarification on the same. That is why I'm saying the response given is not enough.
Tongoyo.
Thank you.
Your response is alleged not to be enough.
The issue of the helicopter, Honorable Speaker, the gunshot helicopter, I think is an allegation. It's not something that the member can really prove. But having said this, Honorable Speaker, I understand the magnitude and the seriousness of the issue. Maybe taking into account that now we have the CSS, maybe if the member needs more clarification, maybe I don't know, maybe your guidance, we can have it as a question time so that he can able to address it more further.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wanted to add on what my colleague from Turkana Central has put across. Mr. Speaker, this issue of KWS and fishermen in Lake Turkana is getting to a different level. The incident that happened, it is true, Mr. Speaker, sir, a number of fishermen from the Turkana side were killed by the helicopter, not even by the KWS. And we want to know, which helicopter was that? Was it a government helicopter or a private helicopter? Mr. Speaker, sir, up to 2 weeks ago, we've still been getting dead bodies on the shores of Lake Turkana in Nachukui. A number of them were picked up by the community along Lake Turkana shores. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, the response that has been given is not satisfactory to us because this issue as the community in Turkana at some point might have to, I mean, if it is not put, if not handled well, they might have to, even fight the KWS because it is even said, Mr. Speaker, the people who killed officers and which we sympathize with the family, those who are Dasanach from Ethiopia, not the Turkanas. But when KWS was responding, it responded to fishermen who are not even around the highland. So there's a problem, and we need to sit with the DG, the Director General of KWS, so that this thing is sorted out. because the killing is continuing. Our people are not even fishing, and that is their mainstay. So what is supposed to happen, Mr. Speaker?
Thank you. Honorable Tongo, I suggest or direct that you have a meeting with the two members of parliament and indeed members from Turkana County so that you can further discuss this. Next order. Yes, Naisula. Hold on.
Mr. Speaker, on 24th of last month, I did request a statement regarding challenges facing the new higher education funding model, and you did direct the chairperson of the Committee of Education to respond in 2 weeks, Mr. Speaker, and 2 weeks ended last week. And this is a very important statement. As we know, many students will be reporting to higher education institutions next month, and guardians and parents are, have anxiety over the new higher education funding model.
Where is the chair for education, Honorable Meli? Vice Chair, Malulu Injendi. Professor, you are a member?
Yes. Yes, Honorable Speaker.
You have the statement?
I can attempt to give...
No, I don't want an attempt. Either you have the statement
Yeah,
or you don't.
I have the statement.
Are you able to respond now?
Yes, I can.
Go ahead.
Honorable Speaker, I am here to stand in for the chair to present to give a response to the statement by Honorable Naisula on the funding model, the university new funding model. Chair, on May 3rd.
Which chair? You are addressing the speaker.
Sorry, Honorable Speaker, on 3rd May 2023, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya announced the introduction of a new funding model in higher education effective from the financial year 2023-2024. It is a student-centered funding model, and it represents a shift from the previous model of the... This model, Honorable Speaker, aims to ensure equitable access to higher education by directly supporting students based on their financial needs rather than allocating funds to institutions. The shift, Honorable Speaker, from the previous funding is to move individualized and needs-based funding mechanism, funding to students. And it has 3 key elements. One is it has a mean testing instrument. It gives direct support to students, and it has special consideration to vulnerable groups. And this model, Honorable Speaker, is banded in 5, or it has 5 levels. So it's banded in 5. It has 5 levels. One is level 1 includes the estimated household income of below 5,995 per month. The second level is a group of persons whose income is 5,000 to 23,670 per month. The third level is the group which estimated household income is between 23,671 to 70,000 per month. And level 4 group represents estimated household income between 70,000 to 119,000 per month. Level 5, this group represents estimated household income above 120,000 per month. So each student is supposed to benefit from this university funding model based on these 5 levels. Band 1, I want to give an example of Band 1. If a student is supposed to be banded as Band 1, this student will get a scholarship, a loan, a percentage of scholarship, a percentage of loan, and a percentage of household. Level 1, or referred to as Band 1, this is a group, these are students drawn from extremely needy and vulnerable backgrounds in the society. Their survival is heavily dependent on government interventions. These include needy orphans, applicants sponsored in the Ministry of Education and Elimu Fund, applicants in social protection, safety nets, and applicants with disabilities who are included under affirmative action. Students classified in this band should be coming from households earning below 5,995. And these students will get 70% scholarship, they will get 25% loan, and they will get 5% household. Those students who are in level 2...
Order, member for Kitui.
Sorry.
Order, Robert Mbui. Is that Robert Mbui? Yes, you are now constituting a Kamkunji, disrupting the proceedings. Go on, Professor.
Thank you, Speaker. Band 2 are those students who are in level 2. These are the socio-economic gap between Band 1 and 2 is so blurred that it is no clear distinction. That is, but those students who are in Band 1 and Band 2, the difference is very marginal. However, compared to the Band 1, Band 2 have some income but cannot sustain their basic needs like clothing, food, and shelter. This Band 2 cannot survive without government support. Ideally, they deserve an equivalent government intervention like Band 1, but which variable loans, but with variable loans and scholarship. This group includes estimated household income between 5,000 to 23,670 per month. So this category of students will get a scholarship of 60%, they'll get a loan of 30%, and they will have household of 10%. The third band, Honorable Speaker, which is categorized as level 3.
How much more to go?
We are in Band 3, we have 2 more. This category...
Can you try to paraphrase, Professor?
Yes?
Yes, Naisula.
Mr. Speaker, I was actually going to rise on a point of order that question 2 and 3, since I have the statement, it's quite a lengthy response, and these are things that I can read and keep the ministry to account. The important parts would be the 5 bands, and she's in Band 2, but also question 3 on the breakdown of the university fees, and the last question on how the needy students will not be left out. She can leave out question 2, which is quite lengthy, and go straight to question 3 and 4. Because that one she'll be addressing to the public as well.
Professor, can you, because it's a long, winding statement, can you go to the last part that the member would want probably to question you?
I stand guided, Honorable Speaker. So I was in band 3, which is level 3. Band 3 is a composition of needy people.
Professor, she said, leave those bands and go to part, as you said, part 3. Yes. 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 Give to Mutunga. Yes.
Honourable Speaker, that information is extremely important for us.
Okay, fine. Go on.
Because we need to understand it as much as Kenyans need to understand it. And
Go
also
on,
the students. So please let us just in the 5 bands.
Yes.
Honorable Speaker, band 3, which
Hold
is...
on, Professor. Yes. Because
Honorable Speaker, we would also want the professor to simplify it, so that if we are to communicate to even members of public, when you are telling somebody they are band 1, band 2, band 3, you know, even members of public are following these proceedings. Can she make it more simpler, that it is able to communicate to the parent who has even not gone to school?
Professor.
Honorable Speaker, in response to the statement which has been made by Honorable Mutunga, and
Band
okay,
3.
Let me continue. These particular bands, that band 1 to 5, is the differentiation or the different categories or categorizations of students in the colleges and universities. And the category which a student belongs will dictate how much school fees they are going to pay, how much household they are going to get, and how much loans they are going to get from government. So at this level, I was in the student category who is considered as band 3 or level 3. And in this category, this is a category of people considered as needy with some modest income. That is a parent who is needy but has some income. And these are low cadre workers that also need significant government support to allow their students to continue. This is a group of people who get a salary or who get income between 23,671 to 70,000 per month. That is a parent whose income is between 23 to 70 is considered band 3. A band 4 parent or is at level 4. Yeah? Band 3 details. The scholarship they'll get is 50%, and then they'll get a loan of 30%.
Professor, there's a point of order. Yes, because next.
You know, Honorable Speaker, Professor had already given us those bands that band 1 is this much to that much. Now, what we want to understand, how much does the student qualify to get? Yeah? Because you already said in the first category, they are getting 75%, then 15%, then 5%. But how much is that? Yeah? Can you break it down in a more simplified way? That the amount of money is this, and they are qualified to get this. Then the second category will get this amount of money. The third category will get this amount of money. And the fifth category will get this amount of money. So that people know how much they can be able to raise and how much the government can be able to give.
Through the Speaker, when I am done with the different bands, I'll give an example of each, an example of how much a student is going to get in each band. Okay, I can give only one. This is because I must give, allow me to finish the characteristics of every band, and then I'll now give an example of how much. For instance, if we pick a student who is going to take medicine in a university, how much are they going to get?
No, and I still believe what you are saying could have been said in
level, band 4, level 3, these are middle income earners under differentiated unit cost. This applicant could survive without funding but the actual program cost created a justification for government funding. This group represents estimated household income for between 70,000 to 119,000 per month. So in that case, these are a group of parents who are maybe comfortable, they have an income, but the problem is the program the student is going to take at the university, because a student who is going to take B.Ed is different from that student who is going to take medicine. So they'll get 40% scholarship, 30% loan, and 30% household. And then finally, we have the level band 5, which is level 5. Band 5 are high income earners with an estimated income of 120 and above, and might need some modest government support as well, depending on the family size, the number of children in school, and tertiary level. And they might need support simply because they have a heavy burden. And these are people within the bracket of, or people who earn more than 600,000, and they can do without any government support. In this case, if they apply, they get 30% scholarship, 30% loan, and 40% household. And I don't need to answer question 2. I move to the I don't also need to talk about the ways the ministry is communicating to the various stakeholders. They have multiple ways. That one can be, that one is already in the public domain. So I want to give a clear breakdown of just one case of a student.
The point of order from Honorable Nyamai.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Listening to Professor, and she's trying to do the best that she can to communicate this information from the chair, or to respond to the matter that was raised by the Honorable Naisula. But it's important for us to fully understand, as people's representatives, and I'm sure that the students are also listening, and parents, it seems not to be very clear on these indicators that we are going to use. Mr. Speaker, is it possible for Professor to explain clearly this 30% or these other percentages, those who are not going to get because of the fact that they have other means? Because it's not clear, Mr. Speaker. As the MP for Kitui South, I still do not understand what I will tell the students in my constituency. What indicators are being used to identify those who get 30%? Is it a study that is going to be done so that it is done in advance, that we know who gets what percentage, so that students do not get stranded? Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to comment.
Yes, Dr. Mutunga. Hold on, Professor.
Honourable Speaker, the students are picked by COOPs, and then they are also given a form alongside for scholarship. This is the form that they fill all the details about their family backgrounds, especially the socioeconomic background of the family. Based on what they are filled in the form, that criteria, the criteria the professor is discussing, is used to assess into which band they will be placed. When you are given 70% scholarship, it means if the fee is 150,000 a year, then you pay 30% of that fee. And then you also qualify for 20% as loan now. 30% is scholarship, and then 20% you are given as loan, which you can pay after you are employed, and then 10% is also given for the household, for the upkeep of the students. That's how this is interpreted. And the students need to know that. What is important is for them to fill the forms comprehensively and give the correct information so that they can be considered fairly. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Speaker, thank you very much. This is a very, very, very important discussion we are having, because a lot of students have actually despaired They are not even going to fill these forms. They are not working on it because the initial forms that they received scared them off university places. I know there was a circular by the secretary, the principal secretary, that they withdraw those forms. But you see, Honorable Speaker, those forms have not been withdrawn. And parents are really struggling to try to raise. I know parents in my constituency who are selling land and all that because this information has not been unpackaged to them. I have had an opportunity to organize for a forum where I brought all students and I brought help and I brought COOPs to talk to them. But you see, I couldn't reach to everybody. And yet, the deadline is on the 15th, which is, I think, Thursday, for filling those forms. And I would like to request the Minister of Education to extend this deadline so that we have more students apply. Actually, there are more students who have not applied than those who have applied because the information is not getting to the student. So, Honorable Speaker, probably you need to give a direction to the new Cabinet Secretary that has taken office to fast-track this issue. One, to extend the deadline, and two, to ensure that officers from HELB, officers from COOPs go up to the sub-county levels, get the students and the parents to be educated and they are assisted in filling the forms so that we do not have any student disenfranchised because he didn't or did not get information. Honorable Speaker, this is important and I think your direction is needed.
Why don't we let...
But thank you, Honorable Speaker.
All these are very valid points. Hold on, Naisula. Professor, how much time do you require to finish reading the statement?
Honorable Speaker, just 5 minutes.
Pardon?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Let her finish, then you can...
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Mutunga has aptly put it that the data generated in this, for these percentages emanates from the student himself or herself. And more so, the ministry already has a lot of data from students because when they are joining secondary schools, they have their birth certificates, they have the details of their parents, and even from the NHIF card, which was still underused the other time, there is a lot of data. The ministry can access a lot of data in order to determine exactly how much an individual or a student can get. However, in situations where a student's data is not ably captured, they can always appeal. They also have appellate processes in this, in case you don't get the money. Mr. Speaker, I just want to give an example of a student who is categorized as band 1. That is that one who is very vulnerable and requires government support at all costs. I will give a case of a student who has been selected to take medicine, and that one who has been selected to take Bachelor of Arts. And Mr. Speaker, there was a problem initially where the ministry was giving student letters which indicated a lot of money. Like our program for medicine, a student was getting a fee structure of 612,000. And it was not necessary for the ministry to give unnecessary information because I'm sure most of the members here who went to the university in the 80s and 70s, they were only, the letters they used to get from the university only indicated the amount the household is supposed to pay. They were not given information on what the government was to pay, which I think the ministry erred on that. They should only give the student, the fee structure should only indicate the household support the student is supposed to be paying to the university. So one is a case of a student taking medicine. The program costs 612,000, Mr. Speaker. In this case, the student gets 70% scholarship, 20 and 25, that is 25% tuition. Sorry, the student gets 70% scholarship, tuition 25%, and in this case it translates to The 5% the household the student is going to take home is 30,000. Sorry, the student is going to receive from the government as household. That is the money for upkeep will be 30,000, 30,600. But a student who is going to do Bachelor of Arts, let's take for BA. This student, the fee structure is supposed to indicate 122,400. This student is supposed to pay 85,000, is supposed to get 85,680 scholarship, is supposed to pay to get 30,600 loan, is supposed to get upkeep 60,000 and is supposed to pay only 6,100. So every student, depending on the program you are going to take at the university, you will get your fee structure depending on the course, and your funding will depend on which information you fill in the form. So it's not a uniform amount. Every student will get information depending on the data which you have given. And the last question, not the last, the one which Honorable Naisola said I should maybe give was the issue of the letters, the fee structure on the admission letters. I think as a committee, we had communicated that to the ministry, and we had given them instructions that they withdraw the letters which they had been given prior, and issue them with new letters with indicating the fee structure which the student is supposed to be paying, not the entire amount where the government is supposed to be supporting the student. And Mr. Speaker, that is the end of my presentation.
Naisola.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I don't think Kenyans are in a position to still understand what is really going on with this higher education model. Having looked at the response, it's a good one if it works or if it is implemented correctly. It happens also with anything new that is being introduced. But we have to be careful. And I want to ask my questions as such, because we can't joke with the education of our children. Many children will not report to school, to TVETs, universities, and colleges if this information is not clear. So my first question is this. It is clear that this is a generated information. You key in and it comes out. I'm asking, has the ministry tested that? Has it been fed? And what has come out of it?
Has it been piloted?
Yeah, in so many words. Has it been, I was trying to get the word. I wanted to ask, has this been piloted, and what has been the response so far from the pilot? The second thing is this. How will a child in the remote areas of Nyiro, in Samburu, Uko, remote, ensure that they apply and they get the information that they need using the online process? Lastly, the issue of the loan. What are the terms? Is it the normal help, or are there new terms with the loan? Because, you know, the government is giving a lot of money, including the upkeep and all that. So is that really, is it a loan, and what are the terms of it? And are children in private universities benefiting? Not the COOPS-taken children, but if I want to take my child to a private university, do I benefit from this? So I think if first you could answer those questions, and then we'll see. And lastly, we don't want confusion. The deadline, as Honorable Mbaya has said, is on 15th. It's being closed. So have all our children applied sufficiently to ensure that they get the information? I've also seen that you've said children without national identity cards, they can use, you've said students without national IDs, provisional application processes allow them to apply using alternative identification such as KCSE index number. That is a very important information because there were students who don't have IDs and they're wondering how they're going to apply for this.
Professor, you can take a few, then you respond. Nikal.
Mr. Speaker, a beautiful proposal that is not going on well because of just logistics and management. At this point, Mr. Speaker, what we need for every student is you are in band 1, you are going to pay this much. Loan this much, loan this much. And household this. You are in band 2, you are going to pay this much. And this, then, because right now, Mr. Speaker, I spent the whole of Sunday explaining to parents. They don't know the letter they have is the letter that went earlier, which just says what the cost of the course is. So now then the letter says, but if you want government help, apply through this. So that all these details at this point, if the deadline is as it is, give parents a simple thing. Band A, band 1, you pay this much. Loan this, this, this. That's what they want. The details, then we will go into further communication. Number 2, say extend the time, because there's no time to do it, for application. So there are things you do to get things going while you are going into the simpler, the details that will work later on. Parents are going all over the place, trying to raise 500,000 shillings for medicine. Information, simple, this is what to do, and this is how, and then you can, that can be one advert on a page. Band 1 this, band 1 this, the percentage is this. Then you put that system where they can put in even with a Mulika. And if you put your number, whatever number, then it tells you the band. Okay. So you know the band, you know what you're supposed to pay, then the rest we work out, Mr. Speaker. It's a crisis.
Kamei, Justice.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity you've given me. I have tried to listen to Professor, Mr. Speaker. Even with my understanding of models, with my understanding of loan arrangements, with my understanding of bursary, I am more confused. And it calls, Mr. Speaker, when you finally give the direction, it calls for more communication to reach the people, to reach the students of this country. And we will not limit it, Mr. Speaker, to the newspapers alone. There are communication channels on the part of the government that should be used so that all the students who want to go to various courses can then get the information, Mr. Speaker. And I want in that kind of communication, for example, a student going to study Bachelor of Arts, a student going to study technology, a student going to study medical. This is the fee structure. And then this is the loan that will be given to the student. This is the bursary that will be given to the student, and this is the balance. Such communication, Mr. Speaker, will really help us be able to reach our people and explain this model, which is so beautiful that my colleagues are saying, but then it is clouded in some form of miscommunication and technicalities. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. In your own area of a lot of mastery, the book is Enemy of the People. A brilliant man by the name Dr. Stockman has a good idea, but the local man does not know. He loses it and he loses it all. What we are dealing with is a situation where the ministry has info, seems to have a procedure, but the people don't know. Therefore, I'll be asking you, Honorable Speaker, I rushed in specifically for this. You can save this country and the students and the education of the new students who are going to the university. by possibly helping the House resolve and make a ruling to the extent that the deadline be extended, because that will really help as the new minister, whom we can now invite, comes down to write a proper memo that will indicate how the fee structures are. I don't want to repeat what the other members have said, because what came out has already discouraged some learners from going to the university. Number two, if the House, if you could make a ruling that again these students who are supposed to go to university, all of them go. Because last time when we were in such a situation, that was the resolve that was done, and it saved the situation. And then the rest of those issues will be done when they're already there, so that the ministry can have time to actually explain all these processes. When explained here, looks very good, but outside there, it's not communicated and it's not working. Parliament would have helped the entire education system for now. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Can you take your seat? This is your baby. And your member has tried her best. From what she has given to the House, even an above average member is not following clearly. And this requires some different approach. Honorable Meli, I'll give you time to tomorrow to come and inform the House at 2:30. One, whether there is a possibility of extending time beyond 15th, which is day after tomorrow. Two, whether you can employ a better mechanism of communicating to the students, including but not limited to having education officers that are deployed up to division levels to be the centers of communication and filling of the forms by the students with guidance from those officers. Number three, you can also find out from the ministry if they can delegate the universities of admission as agents for assisting the students when they go to the university to fill the forms, so that no student loses out because of either inadequate communication, poor communication, or miscommunication. Because from what Professor Barto has read to the House, the statement is begging more questions than giving answers. And as the chair of the committee, I would advise you and direct you, get to the ministry this afternoon, and I'll give you an opportunity tomorrow at 2:30 to make a proper communication. I'm sure our concerns are the same. Let the chairman go and get information and come and give to the House, because listening to Naisula, the questioner, to Dr. Nyikal, to Justice Kemei, to Omboko Milemba, to Mutunga, to Nyamai, to Owen, the concern is simple. A good idea, inadequate communication. A good idea, poor communication. A good idea, there is no clear implementation process. That is how I am understanding this issue. So if we agree to that, let's not belabor the point. Let the chairman and those with issues, I'll give you time tomorrow, because we're already getting to 5. Yes. Yes, Kamket.
Thank you, Speaker. Indulge me, Mr. Speaker, as the chairman comes to respond to those matters tomorrow. 2 weeks ago, I saw a statement that was directed to TSC. And the committee has not responded to it, and I'm concerned, Mr. Speaker, that we are going on to say, I'm not getting a reply from...
He is here, he has heard you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Address that. Members, I want us to... Yes, Mutunga. On the same issue. My direction is
there is an issue that the chairman should clarify to Kenyans. Is this going to be for the first year's university students and colleges this year,
or is it going to be for